Hello everyone, welcome to my video. It's me, Maria Hildarvianti, and in this video I'm going to review some short story by Nataniel Hawtrone. The title is Birthmark. I think this short story is very interestingly and very special, so I will analyze this short story by Psychoanalytical Approach. In this story, it will more talking about the desire of perfection. So I hope you will enjoy my video, and we start to the story. The desire for perfection in Hawtrone's The Birthmark. Beauty is only skin deep, or so people say. If so, then the presence of a birthmark should not affect how its owner is viewed. For nothing the person did warranty the mark, he or she just happened to born with this natural blemish, symbolic of human's original state. In Nataniel Hawtrone's tale, The Birthmark, a small mark on a woman's face becomes the obsession of her husband, who insists upon removing it with his scientific expertise. Because of his passionate place, the woman gives into his demands, thus dying. A psychoanalytic interpretation of the plot adds a new dimension to the literal level of the story. Freud's division of the mind into three elements, the id, ego, and superego, plays an enormous role in the psychoanalytic interpretation of the birthmark. The id contains all human passions and desires that leads to pleasure, conforming to Freud's pleasure principle. The superego, the id's opposites, follows the reality principle, for it is the moral conscience of the individual that is created by parents' rule and society laws. The ego is a mediator between the two, as it directs the pleasure principle to the reality principle, telling the person who to act properly. So what happens when the ego fails to do its job? The birthmark is a sobering example. When the scientist Eilimer lets his desire for perfection loose upon his wife, it means under the guise of his superego science, he kills Georgiana, thus killing the symbolic id of himself. The ego represented by his servant Aminadab fails to be the mediator necessary for balance. In this story, Hawtrone suggests that a competent ego is necessary to prevent the devastating consequences of Eilimer's behaviors without the ego balancing effect. Either the id of the superego will take control of a person shutting out, the other half with horrible results. In this dark tale, science acts as a pseudo-superego. Science strives to find through rigorous experimentation the answers to all of nature's mysteries. Science represents the rational and permissible, and the scientist hoping to help perfect life is permitted to experiment to help benefit humanity. Science is exact. The science continues to strive for that exact, perfect answer that will satisfy him or her. Eilimer lives and breathes science. He really likes science because before he born, he really born from a scientist family. So he had devoted himself to unreservedly to scientific studies ever to be went from them by any second patient. It can prove by Hawtrone 212. In here, Alimer is therefore an agent of the superego science, giving himself over to search for perfection. Through this rational mode of thinking, Alimer strives for the flawlessness the superego symbolizes. He says to his wife, Georgiana, that she has led him even farther into science than his previous experiments. To this, he adds, I feel myself fully competent to render this dear check as faultless as its fellow. And then, most beloved, what will be my triumph when I shall have corrected what nature left imperfect in her favorite work? And what is about this flaw that so repulses the superego side of Alimer? The birthmark, as little as it is, could represent the evil or impulsive it-like side of a person. It is red and hand-shaped, similar to the mark that would remain if someone slapped another on the face. Maybe the presence of this mark calls forth the same sort of reprimand by superego that slapping someone would. The evil in that person is pointed out. However, the blemish appears on the face of an otherwise beautiful woman. So perhaps Hawtrone's symbolic meaning is that such a small blemish should not really matter, for we are blemished in a small way. Furthermore, the mark is natural, and so it should be condemned if the blemish represents imperfections. The science as a superego has permission to eliminate the blemish in the name of science. If the blemish, however, represents the impulses of it, science as superego will be naturally opposed to it, trying to kill it, even though the ego needs the balance of the it and superego. And then the fact that the mark so tiny shows just how obsessed the superego can become with perfections. Alimer feels driven to remove even this small reminder of the human his wife is. But seeing her otherwise so perfect, he found this one defect grow more and more intolerable with every moment of their united lives. As his wife is a part of him through the symbol union of marriage, he sees the mark as a reflection of him, reminder of himself imperfect. Consequently, he wants to repress or hide in his unconscious the reminder that his wife is not perfect. For if he cannot make her perfect, he would have to admit his own humanity and ultimate failure as a scientist. Thus, he is tempted by his superego to achieve perfection. No, dearest Georgiana, you came so nearly perfect from hand of nature that is silence possible defect which he hesitates whether to term a defect or a beauty, shocks me as being the mark or earthly imperfection. Despite her overwhelming beauty, Alimer feels an almost neoretic need to remove the mark from Georgiana's face, and ironically, This need seems simultaneously a function of the id. Georgiana's beauty can be seen as desire for Elinor wants her as wife, means perfect desirous object, and as specimen, the perfect scientific object. The pressure his wife feels from his id superego induced shame is enormous. Owing to his overwhelming desires, she allows Elinor free rein to perform any experiment he wishes, as long as the hateful mark is erased. She falls so under his influence that she no longer has any regard for her sickle safety. Danger? There is but no danger. That this horrible stigma shall be left upon my cheek. Remove it, remove it. Whatever be the cause, or we shall both go mad. Georgiana as the id, beautiful to the narrator but flawed to Elinor, gives way to the demands of the superego. It's a tragedy results. This tragedy results because the ego does not balance the id, superego, of Georgiana and Elinor, a responsibility of the servant, Aminadab, the story's ego. Hawtrone describes Aminadab in earthy terms. With his vast strength, his shaggy hair, his smoky aspect, and indescribable earthiness that includes him. He seems to represent man's sickle nature. Aminadab seems a perfect mediator between the abstract scientific superego and the uncontrolled passion of the id. His appearance is founded on the earth, as should be his actions. However, his status as Elinor's servant indicates troubles. Hawtrone instantly defines the relationship between two as one of master-servant. Aminadab as ego should perform his duties, but he should balance the id with the superego. Yet he follows only Elinor's monomaniacal drive for Georgiana's perfection. He was admirably fit for that office by his great mechanical readiness and the skill with which, while incapable of comprehending a single principle, he executed all the details of master experiments. At the one point, Aminadab does try to assert himself, but his actions are too little too late. Hearing of his master plan, Aminadab should object. Unfortunately, he waits until ordered to throw open the door of the boudoir. The door opening is symbolic of throwing open the door into domain of the id, or Georgiana, a place the superego should never directly see. The bedroom as symbol of the id desire is reinforced by the dreamlike, beautiful description of the room as containing George's curtains draped around the room to give it a heavenly effect. For aught Georgiana knew, it might be a foul pavilion among the clouds. This contrasts sharply with Elinor's domain of the scientific lab, in which the atmosphere felt oppressively close and was tainted with gaseous odors which had been tormented forth by processes of science. The id and superego are represented by these separate rooms. However, Aminadab acquiesces to Elinor's request to open the door. offering only a mumblet. If she were my wife, I'd never part with that birthmark, Aminadab said. While his last statement may reflect the ego-like voice, a woman's life should not be put at risk for a small birthmark. The statement is spoken too softly to be heard by Elimer, symbolic of Elimer, demented drive for scientific perfection. If the remark had been in swing tragedy might have been avoided, Aminadab could have been the voice of reason informing Elimer that no matter the spiritual or physical depth of Georgiana's birthmark, it did not detract from her beauty. Ironically, Elimer destroys what is truly beautiful just because there is no force telling him he is acting inappropriately, as his wife was part of him and a reflection of him through marriage. The loss of her is the same as losing an essential piece of himself. Georgiana is not perfect, and the scientific quest is completed but unsuccessful. Yet had Elimer reached a profounder wisdom, he need not thus have flung away that happiness which would have woven his mortal life of the self-same texture with the celestial. If Elimer had realized that acceptance of the fault would be possible in the world, he could have been happy, like the scientist who poisons his daughter to make her beautiful. Elimer commits the Hawtrone's unpardonable sin. He allows his zealous desire for scientific perfect to overtake his humanity. From a Freudian perspective, Elimer operating with faulty ego, it's unwilling to acknowledge it means Georgiana her beauty and her blemish by destroying it by his super ego. End of this story. As the story suggests, a life lived with the only super ego-like tendencies will lead to tragedy. One part cannot exist without its opposite, and both need to be accepted and mediated by the ego to realize the full potential of life. A balance needs to be struck between the drive for perfection and the drive to satisfy more best desires. If one element gains control, then it will destroy the other. The destroying part of the person, the rational, super-ego-like world will be dull and dangerous, and an irrational world will be chaotic and equally dangerous. Why kill a part that could complement and balance the other? Hawtrone's answer seems that many people are unable to recognize the need for such a balance. So, that's all my review, my analysis of this short story, The Birthmark by Nataniel Hawtrone. I hope you enjoy my videos and I hope this useful for you. So thank you and see you on the next video.